Welcome to Hashtag Wednesdays Weekly, a weekly information session in collaboration with the voluntary sector and public sector partners. Today's session is Digital Strategy, Online Security Public Information Campaign, and our host is Helen. Over to you, Helen.
Hi, thanks for coming, Christine. I'm apologising in advance. I've already had this conversation with Laura. It's a fairly dry subject, this today. The council launched its digital strategy earlier this year. Obviously, the use requirement for online services increased massively during the pandemic, and it just so happened that the council was writing its digital strategy at the time. So in some ways it was fortuitous what went on there, because we recognised the way that digital services could be used, but equally recognised that there were numbers of people that couldn't access it. So obviously the digital strategy, just as a sort of broad picture, is very much being written with digital inclusion at the forefront of it. We're keen to get as many people online as we possibly can, but we want to do that in a way that is as safe as possible for them. I'm struggling to present, Laura. I was just trying to get my presentation up and it's not letting me.
I've got it open if you want me to.
Let me just try. Yeah, can you do it for me?
Yep, no problem.
Because it's not responding to me. Thank you. Can you just scroll on to slide 1?
Yeah, I'm just figuring out how you start one, isn't it?
Can you just scroll down? Have you? That's it. So yeah, we launched. Hi, Mark. We launched the digital strategy in February of this year, and we recognise that we want people to feel as safe and secure online as possible. And in order to do that, we're looking to do a comms security campaign about online security, raising awareness of the various risks that there are, and helping people to address those risks. Online scams, fake websites, viruses, etc., are issues to which we're all vulnerable, and we're quite aware that causes almost a sort of self-exclusion for some people who choose not to go online because of the fear. My mum's one of those. My mum's 85. She's got absolutely no interest in going online, but the reason for it is she's got a natural nervousness about it. You know, older people read, well, like my mum, read stories in newspapers, and so she's got no interest whatsoever in getting online. Can you go on to the next slide, Laura? Sadly, some of our communities face significant additional problems. Online bullying, targeted abuse is a significant problem, but some of our communities are hit much harder by online bullying than others. In a survey of the LGBTQIA community's online experience, it's very depressing. 58% of the LGBT community had experienced online abuse. 73% of respondents in the transgender community had been bullied online, and within the context of that particular survey, transgender women felt the least safe online because of targeted online bullying. Racial discrimination is equally problematic online. We're depressingly familiar with the horrendous abuse that the footballers experienced last year after the Euro finals. I don't really need to say much more about that. It was national news, and it was fairly appalling. Equally, our people in the disabled community suffer online abuse, and you know the figures are soaring in terms of abuse online for people with disabilities. This aspect was highlighted by Katie Price because unfortunately she's a high-profile figure, and her son has been targeted for abuse because, you know, he has a disability. It's a positive role model, is Harvey, in terms of raising the profile of people with disability. But it is sad, you know, that people choose to target him and comment on his disability. Can you go to the next one, Laura? Older people, I'm glad you two are here because I will be picking your brains. Older people, from what I've read, are particularly prone to risks around online scams, fake websites, and viruses, as we all are. But the less familiar you are with online, you know, ways of operating, the more vulnerable you are. Relationship and dating scams are particularly targeted at older people, and then obviously there's financial abuse that often comes with that, and worries about financial scams are things that older people are particularly prone to. As I say, you know, some knowledge about some difficulties online causes a natural reticence to use online facilities. And children and young people, it does seem actually, aside from online bullying, that I went through the protected groups, I went through all the protected characteristics, and if you take online bullying out of the scenario, it does seem that many of the significant problems that are faced by our communities are faced by either the older or the younger end of the scale. Children, I mean, it's genuinely terrifying. I'm glad I don't have youngsters anymore. You know, it's changed massively since mine was young. But cyberbullying, emotional abuse online, sexual abuse online, the rise in sexting, you know, we need to be keeping our children safe and helping them to use their online and digital access to obviously maximize it. You know, they are a digital generation, but we need to help to keep them safe when they're doing that. So obviously part of the campaign will target that. And county lines, children increasingly being involved in, you know, drug running and criminal activity, where that, you know, they are targeted online, usually quite vulnerable children. So yeah, that's a particular problem that we're aware of. Can you just move down to the last one, Laura? So we want to do our utmost to make sure that the strategy for online safety, our comms campaign for online safety, is as comprehensive as it possibly can be. We know the generic information, which is what we've just run through, but I would be extremely grateful for any input that you can give us, because what we want is for our communities to enjoy online access, you know, to make best use of it. It's great, you know, it's so much easier, access to services, access to health, but they need to do so in a way that's safe. So yeah, really grateful for your input on anything else that you think we need to consider while we're putting this campaign together.
Thank you, Helen. So I'll just pause the recording.